Dun, da, 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 dun, 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 dun. You're supposed to speak after that.
Oh, my bad, dude. I didn't that was a new prompt. I didn't pick up on it. But what it did make me think about, funny enough, as soon as you started doing that, I actually was cursing you silently. Is so over the break, my kids I love I mean they're funny, they're hilarious, they're awesome. They're out of Indiana, called have you heard of the group called Straight No Chaser? Have you heard of these guys? They're like an a cappella group.
Like a music group? No, I've not.
Yeah, they're like a group of dudes, and they started it like years ago, University of Indiana, and I think the thing that made them probably most famous, at least that in my why I got to know them was they did a Christmas like mashup song. And they're like I said, they're an a cappella group. I think I'm using the right word. I don't, dude. I'm not a musician. Okay, it's just a bunch of group of dudes singing. All right.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
And what they did, it's really funny. If you haven't heard it, you should look it up immediately after we get off this. But they did a 12 Days of Christmas, but then they like it's a mix of Christmas songs, and they like kind of arguing on stage, and then one like a Jewish dude, presumably Jewish, like he busts out in the middle of the song. He's like dreidel, 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 whatever. It's pretty funny. You should listen to it after. Highly entertaining.
Is it on
Anyways,
is it on the tube of views?
yeah, it's on the Tubi Use. But they do a number of things. Well, my kids found a movie medley that they do, and they start it with that, but they sing the dun, 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 whatever, and they go through. But it's so like addictive. It's been in my head when I wake up in the morning for like the last week, and so that's why I was cursing you because I finally got it out of my head. I didn't think about it once today. Now it's
You're
gonna be
welcome.
back in, and they do like a movie mashup. It's like James Bond, this, that, and the other. Anyways, all that being said, good, clean fun, entertaining. I slightly cursed you when you did that because I had finally gotten out of my head after about a week straight, and now it's back.
Yes. You know what my son has been listening to a lot? So we got an Echo, basically an Alexa for them for Christmas, and I'm regretting it like every day.
Really? Oh, we
Yeah,
love
dude.
it, dude.
Because my son thinks it's really funny to ask Alexa to play the fart song.
Dude, that's the bet. That's why you get an Alexa, man. You know how many times we've heard fart songs? Like,
Dude,
I
it's
can't
it
even
just
count the
gets
thousands
super
of times.
annoying
Yeah,
after like
yeah,
5 times of listening to the fart song in a row.
yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. What we actually got for like different, this is over the course of many Christmases, but each of the kids has one. Because of that, they have one in their own room where so like Noah, dude, it's hilarious. Like I actually love it because you could walk upstairs if the kids are in their rooms, you could walk upstairs and like Maya, like if you're by her room, there's like a little Taylor Swift playing probably. Jake is singing at the top of his lungs, whatever it is that he's playing. Like he just belts it out, dude. And it's like the most random. There's like Billy Joel. There's like, I mean, Elton John. Like just these random. I don't even know how he finds it. Like I don't even know why they're appealing to him. But he loves them and he belts it. And then you go over to Noah's door because all the doors are closed, and it's like straight fart songs and
So you
like
have three separate Alexas?
four. Yeah,
Oh
four.
dang, dude.
But again,
Chinese are like
it's been
all
over the
over you, all
years,
over you.
right? Like it's oh dude, they've already got the government when the government got hacked and all of us with top secret clearances, all of our information got sucked into
Fair.
China. Like that just tells you all you need to know. But but it's like I said, that's like probably 4 years of Christmas gifts like that they have, that was like a great gift for them. They loved it. It wasn't, I think my mom got like two of them, and yeah, it was a great idea.
My wife,
Close the
my
door.
wife, my wife doesn't like it because like Wells is all of a sudden like into like Metallica. Like he's listening to like hard rock and roll. My wife does not like it at all, and he'll like Metallica level 8 and just like freaking rocks it at the top of
Yeah,
his.
no, there's you got to put some I think you got to put some boundaries in there for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. Anyhow, we did not we did not jump on this to discuss Alexa, I don't think,
No.
or
I don't,
Christmas necessarily, although great resources. Um, but this is January, and this is I think this time of year can be extremely impactful. But I also want to caveat that you can artificially make any day of the year your January 1st for goal setting and habit creation and trying to become a better human being. So do not be limited to it. But I mean, most people, they'll use the opportunity of January, and I think if it's an opportunity for self awareness and digging deeper into yourself and making goals and create new habits, I think it's great. I love it. I love it. But I personally am not a big like multiple goal checklist setter guy. Like I'm more, I've become very much focused on, like last year was intentionality, and just that just drove so much stuff within my house, within the businesses. This year for me is discipline, dude. Discipline is, there's so many areas. We got a lot of things going on. We got a lot of stuff that we do, and I'm just, I lack in discipline whether it's, self care, uh, uh, things in our business, allocating time appropriately, all those kinds of things. So for me, dude, discipline is a big word this year that I'd really like to maximize. And I also think it can lead directly into some things that we want, right? I want to be more fit. I want to have more time, quality time with my kids, my wife. And I want our businesses to thrive. And I think those things require focus, dedication, and really wrap those into discipline.
So, let's dig in there a little bit. I'm curious, kind of. All right, so you have this word discipline, and you want to be more focused this year. So, like, how do you practically do that? Like, what is, as kinetic men, how do you take the word discipline and actually put action towards that to make 2024 a better year?
You don't. You just have cool words,
Oh,
and
cool.
then you just aspire to the words, and
Good
then by the end of
podcast.
the year, yeah.
Yeah.
No, for me, what it looks like, and it's a bit of a, for me, traditionally, they're like the goals that discipline would entail would be like just say physically, right? I want to lose whatever 10 pounds, and I want to gain this amount of muscle and do X, Y, Z. And there's nothing wrong with those things. I've moved away from those types of goals, and I want to be disciplined. So in physical health, for example, is looks like the habit of at least 5 workouts a week. So very practically, in the result, if I'm working out 5 days a week, and I've also applied discipline to my diet, not a diet, but my diet. So I'm taking in more protein. I'm tracking that via, you could track that via, I like MyFitnessPal. You could track it via however you track it. You can, get into the macros, macros, or the macros tracking stuff, whatever. There's so many ways you can do it, but you just make a choice and commit to that thing. So for me specifically, the 5 days a week I want to work out. Ideally it's 6 days a week. It's 3 days of cardio, 3 days of lifting, and then those just rotate. So is that realistic? I think so. I think I can achieve 6 days a week of working out. If I'm doing that, if I'm disciplined about achieving that habit, then the other stuff will come, right? Inevitably, I want to be more healthy than not doing that. I'll be more healthy. I'll probably look more like I want to look, instead of doing, a very inconsistent workout plan. And so that's how for me personally is broken down into my focus with discipline is into habits and calendar level habits, right? Like these things are all on my calendar. So morning reading the Bible every morning. We're now doing 5 days a week of a accountability group. I think there's 6 of us, 7 of us in the group that are read through the Bible in a year. Oh, that's one too, right? Like that's a habit. That's something that's very important to me. We're doing that accountability wise. It's on my calendar. That's what I do in the morning. I wake up, and that's the first thing I do before I do anything else. And so for me, the discipline is committing to the calendar. And really it starts with, I'm going to do a calendar scrub here. I want to do it last week. But I'm looking at doing it this week and the next week, and no kidding, like get that thing tight. I want to fill all the space. We're talking about doing more content, being disciplined about content, right? And so that needs to get on the calendar. If it's not on the calendar, it's just going to be willy nilly. And so that's what practical to me looks like. And it's more specific to long term habit building than it is to check block goal achievement throughout the year as tracked by progress from weight loss, this many chapters read, this many books. Reading's another good example. I want to be reading about 3 hours a day, not including Bible time. And so like, well, what does that look like? Can I find 3 hours a day to read? And so it's not, I don't have a book goal. Like, oh, I want to read a book a week. I want 70 books this year. Like it has nothing to do with that. But if I'm reading 3 hours a day, dude, that's like legit. Like I'm gonna get through some pretty good stuff. And so that's what it looks like for me. And even when I started thinking about this word, I've been contemplating this word for a couple weeks. What is the thing that I really want to be focused on? It's even the discipline to get into the calendar, to do a calendar, to do the calendar, right? Like that exercise in and of itself is critical. And inherent in that, it just branches. So I have to do a habit analysis. We're doing that with the group right now, a habit inventory. And then that inventory, we're going to do an analysis. Okay, this is a plus or this is a minus in my habit column in the man I want to be. And so it just kind of cascades into something bigger, which for me is a lifestyle, not so much um, 10 pounds, 5 books, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Does that
dude,
answer your question?
it does, man. I love it. And this week we're going through the habit inventory, and I've been taking a look at my I want my habits to be, my ideal habits, and then what actually, no kidding, happens. And you know, the habits that I've say I want to create, like a morning routine is, get up, make coffee, read the Bible, journal on it, pray on it, maybe read from another book, um, quiet time, meditation, and kind of like the miracle morning kind of stuff, and then go work out, right? So if I wake up at 4 a.m., which is my typical wake up, and I do, no kidding, like read the Bible, pray, journal, that takes about an hour for me, right? And then if I want to go work out and get to the gym, well, if I'm going to the gym to lift weights, that's, 15, 20-minute commute to the gym, get there, knock it out, an hour at the gym, sauna, come back, and like I'm pushing it. Like I'm like probably not gonna make it. And then, oh, by the way, I'm very creative in the morning. So like my creative juices are going after I like read and journal, and like I got ideas, maybe like some social media posts, like some creativity, like all that jammed together. Like I just don't have enough time in the morning. So I've started thinking about like, how do I fit this in? Like what priorities do I need to move? And like then like those conversations go like to my spouse, like, hey, what if we like kind of took turns taking the kids to school? Like what if you did a gym day and I did a gym day in different days? And like so just kind of figuring out priorities and realizing like what you can make happen, like that alone is discipline, to just, no kidding, get real about what you want to accomplish and how you're going to accomplish, and put stuff on the calendar and figure out how you can, coordinate that with your spouse. And so it's been a really good journey just this past week or so, doing
Yeah,
that.
man. I love that. Well, and here's the thing. What I encourage everybody to do, and I think you said it, I just want to reiterate it slightly different, but you have the ideal, like these are the things I want to do. Awesome. Like that's great. Uh, the next level of that, I think there's two additional levels that are really, really meaningful. One is to ask yourself, okay, why do I want to do this? Like, why is this important? Um, and I think that answer sometimes is really interesting on like, if something truly should take your time, or if it should be a priority, if it should be placed there, if it's such a priority and it's unrealistic, like where does it make it in your calendar? All those kind of things. And then I think it's really critical to just like to do it, to try it, and then reassess, right? Because the ideal is oftentimes for me is very different from like the reality. And what you don't want to do is create a scenario where you are you are basically building the environment of failure. Like you're basically building yourself into a corner and you're going to fail.
Yeah.
And so, for me, I've started to realize, especially if we started this new Bible reading plan, it does take a while. Like it is very, and I've been much more consistent since the new year started in journaling, like much more. Like I probably journaled more these first 2 weeks than I did all last year. Like it wasn't directed. It wasn't, we weren't doing a plan together. That's where this plan is really, there's downside to everything, right? The downside of the plan is probably 5 to 6 chapters a day. Well, you can't, it's much harder to dive deep into a specific scripture And so like but we've thought through that, right? For me, it's important to just have the habit of being in it. Last year, I was more like, I just want to dive deep. It didn't really work out for me. Like in all honesty, it didn't really work out for me. And what I found this year is while I'm reading those 5 chapters, I'll write in my journal, I'll take like the 3 verses that I'm like, oh, and then I'll dive deep in those in journaling. And it's been really good, right? And so my point is that I've also asked, okay, there are some things I wanted to do. I want to walk the dog every morning because it's good for me and the dog. And I'm like, like that's not, it's really hard to make those things fit because my kids also, we start the school routine at like 6:30 or 6, I start making lunches and cooking breakfast at 6:15, 6:20.
Yeah, same.
Well, dude, it's hard to, and I'm not a 4 o'clock in the morning guy. And it's also sucks right now at this time of year to,
It's
to walk the dog
cold
at
and
4 o'clock in
dark.
the morning, dude. It is freezing. But I need to toughen up, Buttercup, right? But my point is, I looked at those things. And I'm like, okay. I recently on my calendar changed it, and I took walking the dog out at that time because I'm like, man, that hour is actually a really. I don't want to shorten or uh, cut into any inspired Bible time. Like that's the priority.
Yeah.
So it's not a failure. And I just changed the calendar, right? And is if walking the dog is a priority, then I just need to get that in there somewhere. But my point is, like, don't go January 1st and do the thing and make the list and whatever it is, and then like it's rigid. I'm not that's it, not changing. Because that most likely will be there'll be a failure to some aspects of that. Like build a realistic thing that you can do and achieve and then grow from there. And I think that's a really good step.
Well, a mistake that I've made in the past is being that rigid guy, right? Like I'm a checklist guy, right? So I have 5 checklists. I have the Miracle Morning Savers checklist, right? And I'm gonna check off everything every single day, and I'm gonna get it all done in this 1 hour span of time. And if I'm reading 5 chapters of the Bible, like I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna check it off the list, but I don't remember just what I'd read, right? No idea what I just read, but I checked it off the list and I got it done, right? And I got my meditation app. I turned that on, right? And it's going in the background on silent while I'm reading. I'll check that off the list. So like I got into this checklist mode, right? Like I created such a rigid morning and to try to fit it all in that like it wasn't really even doing anything for me. So you got to be careful with that too.
Yeah, man. Hey, you usually when you ask yourself why you're doing something, that a lot of those things, uh, it sorts itself out. Most of us just don't do it, right? But it sorts itself out. And if meditation's important, it's important if you're dedicated to the practice because the practice is the thing that helps you get to where you want to be. It's not just the thing that you check off, right? And so as you dig into these things and ask why, there's a lot of beauty that could come in that clarity. And hey, dude, like we talk about all the time, a lot of the no's are get you to the yes. Like a lot of the no's get you to the powerful yes. And so we should do that to ourselves too. We should tell ourselves, hey, I'm not gonna do this, and this because I really want to get to this thing. And that's okay. We should embrace that. We should really strive for some very, very, very powerful yeses in our life.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I mean, I think the I love the idea of discipline being your word. And I love the idea of like no kidding calendar level discipline, right? Like and we say this all the time in the mastermind and you've probably heard it on the podcast a bunch of times, but like if you're going to set a habit, like put it on the calendar and hold yourself accountable to it and maybe have someone else hold you accountable to that as well, right? And as soon as you start doing that, it's no kidding a pop up on the calendar. You're dedicating this block of time to that. That becomes a habit every single morning. I think it's really powerful, man. I've done a lot of that within the last years. So like even just a recent one, I heard um, I want to just start communicating more with people, right? Just send out simple text messages to people that are in my life to just reinvigorate conversation and relationships. I know kidding, like 12 o'clock, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, I put a 15-minute reminder time slot on my calendar. Hey, text 3 people. And there's been some amazing conversations that have just come from just that small little reminder to text someone. But if it's on the calendar and you're getting reminders on it, it's something that is a priority to you, like that's calendar level discipline and change.
Love it, dude. Hey, I encourage everybody just do something about it, right? Don't overcomplicate it. Don't make it crazy. Just put your ideal down. The action step, put your ideal down and just take an assessment of like, okay, this is realistic for me. This is not. These items definitely are because they're a priority. These ones aren't. And I'll tell you, if you lean into things that you identify as priorities more so than not doing it, like it'll make a huge change, right? It'll make an amazing difference in your life. And it just starts with that thing. Like just what's the one thing? One thing I want to do is I want to hang out with my kid 1 hour a week, just me and my kid or my kids or whatever. Like it's not that it's an hour. Like it sounds daunting. Like I want to hang out with my kid more. Oh man, how am I gonna do that? That sounds really daunting. Dude, just put 1 hour a week on the calendar. That's gonna be a super special hour. And like you're on the way. You're on your way. Start with a 30 minutes. If an hour is too much, start with 30 minutes. Like your kid will cherish that 30 minutes. You'll grow to cherish that 30 minutes. And most likely what will happen, you're going to start expanding the time that you spend doing the things that are the things you actually cherish. And the other stuff just falls off because you're like, dude, that actually wasn't really that important. I don't really miss not binging Netflix. Like I don't miss that. Right. And so that's all it takes. A little bit of change. Start with half an hour, whatever it is.
I
Giddy
like
up.
it.
Do it.
Giddy up,
Stop being on the sideline. 30 minutes.
buckle up, Buttercup.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Yeah,
I've not heard that one. I like that. I'm gonna start using that. Buckle up, Buttercup. I heard suck it up, Buttercup, but I like buckle up, Buttercup. Because it
buckle up.
implies doing something and it implies safety.
That's right. You got to be safe when you're
Gotta be
doing
safe.
kinetic stuff.
Yeah. When you're not being a buttercup. Peace.
Bye now.